What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of 4 Dummies, where I'm joined by the other 3 dummies, Mrs. Skullface.
Hello.
Robert Detoff.
Cobbler.
Jisk One.
You should have just said my friends.
Tonight, we're going to be talking about something very sensitive. I can already almost read some of the angry comments, but it must happen nonetheless. It's only the dangerous conversations at the end of the day that are ultimately worth having. So I just recently received a YouTube comment that was in response to my brawny, or whatever the brawn was from Three Mighty Warriors. That was a third-party masterpiece set. It came with 3 figures. It was around $100. Decent.
From a while back.
Yeah, this year. But yeah, like 3 decently sized figures for $100. What he ended up saying was, I kind of get your point, but you come off as an elitist prick.
He should have prefaced it with no offense.
I think it's a conversation worth having on a number of levels. And elitism is something that's kind of thrown around, and I think it's kind of cast on to people because they don't like necessarily a cheaper thing and then call the cheaper thing out for being built cheaply. But I also think there's another conversation in there that's worth having, which is about, should everything be affordable for everyone? And I'm not sure that it is. Before we kind of get the conversation kind of up and running, I want to say this. I am looking into these quarter scale statues, and there are some that are around $500, and then you start getting into like the upper echelon that are around $1,000 to $1,500, and then there's even stuff around $2,000. Take, for instance, this Imaginarium art Grimlock statue. It's $2,000. I want that thing bad, but I don't want someone to make a cheaper version of that thing just so I can have it. It's important to me to achieve that goal of getting it, and it's not going to be today. And the way things are going, it's more than likely not going to be tomorrow. But one day, if I keep at it, I feel like I can obtain it. That's part of the hunt for me, is like the personal challenge. Let me ask you guys this. Is there something that's very expensive for either one of you that's like a goal that you want to be able to obtain one day?
I want none of it cheapened. Absolutely none of it, because that's the whole point. It's like, well, Flames Toys, it's several $100s, but to me it's worth it. The only things I want cheapened are the things I find aren't worth the price. And see, I think there's a lot of room in this universe for everything. And in order to enjoy your own life, to have your own goals, you don't have to crap on someone else's things or success or what they have. And I've noticed it's actually the inverse I've seen. It's the people who love their Magic Square or the TF Element who crap on the more expensive upcoming official release.
Right.
So who's being elitist? Just because something is more expensive and maybe better in some ways, you're doing it. You're revealing insecurity. That's all. I like the fact that there's even better stuff out there.
I do feel like I see the people that are like head over heels in love with the MP44, looking down at the TF Element and Magic Square as well.
But are those people just doing that strictly because it's official?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? I think you would get more of that versus they're looking down at it based on price point.
You see, those figures, this actually might not be the best example, though, because Magic Square and TF Element are really good. So there is an honest debate there. The unofficial are around $100, right? And then you have the officials 3 to 4 times the amount. So it's actually a healthy debate. I would maybe compare it to Fans Toys Phoenix and the Siege Jetfire.
Right.
You have a cheaper offering now. It's not MP. It looks close enough. But yeah, I'm happy for those people that don't want to or can't spend that kind of money on the Phoenix.
I don't view it that way. Like this $2,000 Grimlock, right? I want it, and I can't just swing it without kind of preparing for it. But like, I don't view it as like, I can't get this.
Right. Let me ask you this, though. If you could swing it without even thinking about it, would you want it less?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Do you want it because you love it, or do you want it just because most people don't have it?
Because I love it.
Right. See, if you just wanted it as a status symbol, then you're being an elitist.
I was going to say, exactly. Like, I think that being an elitist is not just purchasing more expensive things. It's believing that you are better.
Oh, yeah.
Or choosing to purchase these things to make you look better.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't care about
that. I'm not sure.
I think that my mind state regarding it is better. I think it's a better mind state.
What do you mean?
I think being able to say, I can get this. I've got to maneuver. I've got to hustle. I've got to prepare. I've got to prep to get this, but I can get this.
But
that's not an elitist.
No,
but
that's just something about you. You know what I mean?
But there are a lot of people that are like, I can't afford this. I can't, and we're talking about $100 figures, and $100 is a lot of money, and it's more money to some than it is to others, and I get that, but you can. Everyone can. It's not impossible.
Where it's about what you can and can't do, what you will and won't do.
You can't go to Jupiter. You can't.
Not yet.
Right,
but you can buy a Phoenix.
Well, let's say somebody who gets just basically mainline Hasbro releases, whatever they can. I think they spend more money a month on average than I do.
Yeah, they very well might. If a wave comes out and you're getting the whole wave, you're spending over $100. You're getting 8 figures.
Right.
But you're spending over $100. So you can afford it.
Well, and I'll tell you, in the beginning, when I first started collecting, that was the hard thing. It's like when I was trying to get a Masterpiece Soundwave, which I think was like $180 at the time, which was pricey. You're like, damn, man, but I could get like more figures for that. So it's hard to kind of pull the trigger on that one expensive item.
And that's where I'm at. Because my thing is like, since I don't have that $2,000 Grimlock, when I talk to myself about it, at the risk of sounding crazy, what I end up telling myself is like, oh, you don't want it bad enough.
You see, I going back to what elitism is, it's thinking you're better than someone else, right? Based on what you can buy or what you do buy, not what you can buy. What you do buy.
I don't even think it's just financial.
Yeah,
it's just
I
a
drive
presumption
this car,
that you're
so
better in general.
Right.
You're smarter, you're faster. You're just, it could be anything. It's not just wealthier. I think it gets kind of lumped into that category primarily.
No, you have that like with like people that love like just the Hasbro releases. I can say the elitism isn't necessarily about money. It's about, wow, you like that aesthetic. You like that. And there is a real sense of judgment, looking down on people who collect that stuff. And that's not fair and that's not nice because, hey, listen, man, you like that? Hey, I envy you. I wish I could. I don't, but I don't think anything less of you for liking it. I see somebody who's finding happiness in something.
Well, it's like that KO video I did, ruffled a lot of feathers. But people thought I was making a judgment on them. I don't care what you buy. I really don't care. Like, I don't care if I recommend something and you're like, I hate it. Or I don't recommend something and you're like, I love it. I don't care. Like, I think that people take personal offense when you're talking about a product. You're just talking about the product. I'm not talking about the person. And if somebody talks about a product that I love, I don't take offense. I don't feel like it's an attack on me. I really don't care if people have a whole collection full of KOs. I don't like the industry. I don't like the move. I don't care about the person spending their money. They earned it. Do you think there should be I don't know how to say it, a discounted Masterpiece line, even if it was original molds, like say a Big Spring or the Three Mighty Warriors?
Does that affect the releases that I'm getting?
See, I feel like if they make a cheaper product and it's successful, can other companies make a cheaper product and maintain that success?
Am I not, is it hindering the amount of things like, oh, we were going to make this, but we had to stop to make these cheaper products? Then no, I don't want it. But it's like buying a car. You have all these different level trim packages, so I'm fine with that in every aspect. And I think the original question too was, should everything be affordable for everybody? And the answer is no.
Yeah, see, that's my thing is I kind of feel like if you have this stuff that comes to market that is a third the price of other stuff and the quality is just flat out not on par with the other more expensive stuff, it does lessen the line. It cheapens the line.
Right, I agree.
Like if you're like whatever, you're into abstract art and you have all these abstract art paintings and then some hack comes along with some bullshit abstract art, it cheapens what abstract art means.
Right.
Yeah, but that's assuming that the world's not big enough for a more affordable, lesser quality masterpiece line.
I mean, I think it's definitely big enough, but I don't know if it doesn't have an impact on the standard.
It has to, because the majority of the people, regardless of what your income status is, are into saving money. Somebody, if the discrepancies are not large between this affordable version versus like the plus version, people are going to buy the affordable version. So it's going to start affecting the higher quality, or they're just going to stop making those lines altogether, because most people would rather shell out $50, but if you have an option for $50 or $75, I'll take the $50. It's fine that it doesn't have this gun or this paint app.
And I'd rather spend the $50, but I don't, I say this all the time, but I'd rather spend a good $100 than a bad $50.
Right.
But I don't think that that's normal though.
I think people like to see, even having done retail for a long time, like people like to feel like they're getting a deal, like they can't help themselves, even if it's not something good. They like to feel like they got a deal.
Right. They would rather go to like the factory outlet and get the damaged Ralph Lauren than get something of a lesser name brand that's actually a better made shirt.
The Three Mighty Warriors is in that same vein. And it's not a bad set, but what I'm saying is that like if that really hit, it didn't, but if that really hit, what's to stop the people that are making the higher quality stuff, making a lesser quality product and moving more.
So 2 things I want to say. One, I feel like that didn't hit because 2 of those 3 figures were already out and done better. But my question is to you, had they not had those characters, and this is what we got, do you think that your view on them would have been different?
That's a good question. That's a challenging question. I think that I probably would have bought them.
And you would have been like, oh, cool, you're getting these 3. I mean, I know you still would have pointed out their faults, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't have been ultimately satisfied with them. Like, I would have bought them and been like, oh, man, of course they were 3 for $100.
I think the difference is, you can have some companies could all pool to the lowest common denominator if they're getting your money anyway. But then you have a select few, an elite, if you may, that take pride in what they do, and they will not put something out if it sucks. And maybe if it isn't the best, you can tell they do it kind of begrudgingly because they have to.
I just want to say this thing too. I think it's okay for you to not get your way. It's okay, but not everything has to be for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's okay to struggle, and it's okay to be bummed that you can't afford something or that you can't get it because it gives you something to strive for.
Exactly.
So you know what I mean? So it's like, so that's my biggest thing. It's like, not to switch gears, but all these people are petitioning to rewrite the whole season of Game of Thrones this past season because they're mad about how it went out. And it's like, just deal with it. Grow up, deal with the rejection, and figure out a way. If you want it, you'll figure out a way. And if you don't, then you don't want it. And it's not a big deal, and move on. But not everything has to be catered to everybody.
There's always something to be happy about. And if you're not, life has a way of taking those things away from you until you start appreciating what you have.
It's a fact.
Pecan pie.
Amish market, farmer's market, stock market, flea market.
Burning garbage.
Joe KW looking over Bubby's fence.
The red woman without her necklace.
Ugh.